This is Terry Fan in the mood to do a top 5 video list. As you can see on the top, this is my top 5 favorite Resident Evil movies. I know there's only been 5. We had Resident Evil Apocalypse, Resident Evil Extinction, Resident Evil Afterlife, and Resident Evil Degeneration. However, there are 2 Resident Evil films coming up soon. One is the 5th in the Resident Evil live action series, and the new CGI the next one is a CGI movie called Resident Evil Damnation, having Leon S. Kennedy, and there's rumors going around that Billy Cullen will be in the film. As for that, I think that would be interesting because, for those who don't know who Billy Cullen is one of the main characters, along with Rebecca Chambers, in the Resident Evil Zero video game. He's an ex-Marine who was, from what I understand, accused of a crime he didn't commit. He was sentenced to be executed. However, the guards were killed and he escaped into the train. So he convinces Rebecca that they should join forces to survive. In a situation like that, it's better to trust somebody who's a trained killer who can just take them out like that. And Billy Cullen is actually, I think, is a very cool character, and he's pretty much a badass. I think he should be in the few upcoming Resident Evil games, and if you agree, comment below. Because the reason rumors have been around that Billy Cullen's going to be in the film, because in the trailer, there's a shadowy figure that kind of resembles Billy Cullen, so it'll be interesting to see how he and Leon coexist in the film. Well, let's get started with the 5 releases of the Resident Evil films that are already out currently. I'm going to show you all my top 5 favorites in the series. Starting with number 5, Resident Evil Afterlife. This movie took place some time after Resident Evil Extinction. I saw this in the theaters, and I really enjoyed the storyline in this movie. It was nice that Chris Redfield finally made his debut into the film, and a lot of other characters, like Claire Redfield, made it into the film as well. And I think that let me find his last name. I think Sean Roberts is a better Wesker. He really resembled the character from the video game, and I think he was a better Wesker than the last guy was, because he really looked like Wesker. Everything from the sunglasses Wesker wears to the hairstyle Wesker has. So basically, in my opinion, Sean Roberts was better as Wesker. And basically, in this film, Alice is searching for the survivors from Resident Evil Extinction so they can retreat to a safer location. That's all I'm going to tell you all. But basically, everybody had mixed feelings about this film, but I really enjoyed this film. I'll plan to review this one soon enough, the DVD copy at least. And the covers, I like the artwork on the DVD. Let's get on to number 4, Resident Evil Extinction. This movie takes place about 4 years after Resident Evil Apocalypse. It basically, now thanks to Umbrella, the T-virus has spread across the globe, and it's just making it impossible to survive without having to find zombies everywhere. This movie was really interesting, and it was nice. It was cool to see the Crows, who are one of the main characters from the video game series. They and the zombie dogs are always making an appearance in the films. It's just good to see that this Resident Evil really took a chance and really tried to be different from the other. I mean, the only thing I didn't like was the opening scene where Alice was attacked by a bunch of thugs, but other than that, the movie is worth checking out. I'm probably gonna get mixed comments on this one, but all I'm gonna say is believe what you will, but this is my opinion. At number 3, Resident Evil 2002, the first movie. This one really started it all, and Paul Anderson. Personally, if I was gonna make a film, wanted to make a film based on a video game, I want Paul Anderson to make the film because even though his movies may not be award-winning, he does show appreciation to the video games that he makes the movies off of. Because, from what I understand in this interview, he said he played for months the first Resident Evil game. He basically loved the first game that he wanted to make it into a film. And this is not the first time he's done a film based off a video game. He recently directed the first Mortal Kombat, and it really shows that he can turn a video game into a great movie. This one really just, from what I understand, was supposed to be a prequel from the first game because in the first game, as we all know, Stars goes into the woods and then they find the mansion found with zombies and other creatures, but it never explains what happened, how the outbreak occurred in the first place, unless you played Resident Evil Zero. But overall, this movie really was awesome, and it really shows what a movie like Resident Evil could be done. If the movie based off a great game. I mean, sure, it had its moments that were bad, but still worth owning in your collection. Number 2, Resident Evil Degeneration, the first CGI film. And I really enjoyed the fact that this movie really followed the storyline of the video game, because this movie takes place 7 years after Resident Evil 2. As you see, we got Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield. And it really is nice to see that they reunited two very famous characters from the franchise and two huge fan favorites from the franchise. The T-virus has spread into an airport, and Leon, with other characters, Greg and Angela, break in to find survivors. If you have not seen this movie, please do. It's really worth checking out. It may be a CGI film, but it's really, in my opinion, an awesome film. Many will call this the best of all the Resident Evil films, and it's really a strong opinion. And I want to state for the record, this Resident Evil film was supposed to be number 2, but I decided to put this one at number 2 because this one is a really strong title. And it has some great voice acting, a great story, and an awesome battle sequence. And I love the fact they paid homage to Resident Evil 2 with Leon telling Claire to get down. That's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, where Leon and Claire meet again, and he says, "Get down." As you all know, in the second game, Claire is actually in the restaurant, and Leon was fighting zombies when he got to town. Those are the two respective cutscenes of whatever character you pick as in the game, but they both start with "Get down." My favorite Resident Evil movie is Resident Evil Apocalypse. Yes, I know it's a surprise why I put this one at number 1, but to me, this one really felt like the games. Everybody in the film wanted to make it like the game because there's countless number of homage to the video games. Like, of course, you get the zombie dogs, and you get a battle scene that resembles Resident Evil 3 Nemesis cutscenes, and it even has the Nemesis in this game. In this film, I'm sorry. I just really enjoy the fact that they also include Carlos and Jill Valentine. It really, just in my opinion, the best in the series. But that's just my opinion, and we all have our own opinions. I appreciate y'all watching my video, and take care.